It's an interesting situation because ultimately a lot of the people, by the time they've got that amount of disease that they're losing their limbs and their toes, the same microvascular disease has affected everything else. Like diabetes is a silent killer. Most of them have got a brain fog. Type 3 diabetes is dementia. A lot of them don't think very clearly. Their kidney disease, kidney function is falling away. And their heart disease is falling away. And these are silent. Diabetes is a silent killer. We come back to the nut allergy. I got criticised for saying, well, if you want to eat, sugar is just as allergic to glucose as you are to nuts. It's a slower death, but it's just as inevitable if you keep ingesting it. So one of the things about diabetes, people say, oh, it's not going to happen to me. Or they go along and they've got this blood glucose and they've got a HbA1c, which is a measure of glucose control. And so my doctor says it's not too bad. Oh, the range is not too bad. And you don't actually get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes until you've got a HbA1c of more than 6.5. My argument is that 6.49, does that count? But more importantly, if a HbA1c of greater than 5.8 is associated with increased risk of heart attack and cardiovascular disease and stroke. So you don't need to get to 6.5. So people say who are caring or treating, people who are doctors and the healthcare professionals who are treating people saying, oh, your HbA1c is 6.5, well done, are still missing the fact that that population that are above 5.8 are actually still going to die from their diabetes complications, and it's insidious. One of the things I had with my patients is in the acute situation, I was advocating for in hospital that they be given eggs, cheese, and a full-fat yogurt. I couldn't get that across the line. You've only got to look at hospital food to see that it's just full of carbohydrates and doesn't have enough micronutrients and literally doesn't have enough essential fats and proteins in there. Again, because I was criticizing the system, I was getting into trouble, but I was just basing it on biochemistry. So I was just advocating, could my patients in hospital be given eggs and cheese and full-fat yogurt? And I used to write it on the medication chart. I'd prescribe 2 eggs, like they've got all these drugs on there, and I'd be prescribing 2 eggs a day. And that was the only way I could get it, because now if anyone broke my prescription, that you can't tell a doctor you can't prescribe something. I mean, you can criticize him, but you can't. So I had to prescribe cheese and eggs. And literally with introducing those 2 simple interventions, I would watch leg ulcers, foot ulcers start to heal. I also had a group of patients that actually adopted low carb who said that when they were at home, they did not have diabetes, they had it in control. And when they came into hospital for something or other, they had type 2 diabetes again. So literally their type 2 diabetes came back just with hospital food. They'd go home, they'd eat better. And so, we can get better control of your type 2 diabetes within 6 hours, literally within hours of stop eating all the crap food. I'm not recommending anyone's brand, but I happen to have, the Libra Freestyle, because I've actually put those on, some mates from time to time and monitor them literally and watch their blood glucoses come down into a normal range and get control of their diabetes. I can't say instantaneously, but within 24 hours. And again, that's biochemistry, that's science, that's individualized healthcare. And so the government's not advocating those in type 2. I actually think that system costs $100. I think every single person in the world with type 2 diabetes should have a continuous glucose monitor stuck on their arm. They should be given some proper nutritional advice, and then they go home with that and they can experiment and see what food does to their glucose. And guess what? 99% of them are going to improve when they don't eat the carbohydrate.